I'll raise you some deep purple carrots and Champion of England peas.
Think you got me, do you? Well, I'll call your Champion of England peas with this sage and Hungarian hot wax pepper. And I'll raise you some purple basil and these juicy cucumbers. In fact, I'm all in. Broccoli, peas, basil, onion, a lot. That's a running flush. Well, not quite all in, but I'm going to be sowing the majority of my seeds this month, but we'll get on to that in a moment. First things first, hello, welcome to well, it's gone cloudy again actually. I was going to say an half decent evening, Monday evening, Easter Monday, or we don't really celebrate Easter Monday here in Nova Scotia, not with the bank holiday anyway, but a sort of half decent after a thoroughly miserable Easter weekend. It has bucketed it down most of the weekend and been extremely cold. Something like, I think when Ethan went on his little Easter hunt on Sunday morning, it was 0, feels like -6, blowing a gale. He was all dressed up in double pyjamas and his dressing gown and everything. So a thoroughly miserable weekend, but we're due for some nice weather. I say nice weather, for like 10 degrees. That's nice for April in Nova Scotia in the next few days. And I'm all optimistic, as usual, being the optimistic gardener, for my seed sowing coming up. Not quite all in, as I said, but I'm going to be doing a lot of sowing of seeds this month, especially inside. And as you can see, I've already got amongst the seed sowing and lots of seedlings going around. Let's have a quick look, shall we? So what have we got here then? There's a small box of broccolini artwork. I'll come back to that in a minute, or the broccolini anyway. Some flowers that I've got going, some asters and Shasta daisies. Here's a bigger tray of the broccolini artwork. Absolutely super, definitely recommended by me. This is produces lots of little florets, lovely little florets of a beautiful sort of broccoli, and it repeats, really does its money's worth, so I like that. Some ordinary white onions there. I've multi-sowed these, as you can see, so I'll plant them out as a clump, and they'll grow up together and push themselves out, and they'll go quite nicely. So they're good. Some tomatoes there. I've potted up a load of these already, planted up, and I've just got to redo these ones as well. So some more tomatoes, so Scotia. What else have I got in here? San Marzano. I think I potted them up somewhere else. Peace Vine and F1 Cherry. Some chilies, still quite small, don't need to pot them up yet. Some spring onions, or bunction onions as you call them in North America, I think, green onions. These are the San Marzano tomatoes that I potted up. Just the one leaf, nice and deep, and they're growing already. And then down here I've got various other, these are more peppers and chilies that I've got going. More peppers in there. More tomatoes, black crim there. More peppers, I think. Kale. More tomatoes. More Shasta daisies. And here, my central bed here, I've got this nice load of lettuce, etc. growing here now. So this is romaine, that's growing nicely. And I put this fleece over at night, tuck them in nice and warm, and they're responding nicely. So early April, within another couple of weeks, I'll be harvesting these, no worries. Asian greens, as you can see, I'll be sowing some more seeds of that this month, as well as this gourmet blend, some spinach that I sowed a couple of weeks ago, and some rocket, or arugula as you call it in North America. So that's all going nicely over there. This over the other end is all the stuff that I'd sowed over winter and has responded now, really growing nicely and thickly, as you can see. And I'll be harvesting that over the next few weeks, and then I'll be pulling that out, getting ready for another crop. And the broccoli's starting to grow nice and strongly now. I've had a couple of harvests of that this week. Some more lettuce and some more spinach that I sowed. And up here we've got leeks. Be planting them out later. Some more Asian greens, I'll be planting them up in the bottom greenhouse. These will be going outside soon. This is more spinach. What else we got? And what's that? I think that's rocket. It is indeed. Some rocket, and they'll be being sowed outside probably, or some inside, some outside. So all the plants that I've sowed already is looking good. Now, what to plant, what to sow this month? Let's have a look, shall we? So everything's looking healthy and growing quite strongly now. The light levels are getting better. It's getting warmer in here in the greenhouse. You know, when the sun does come out, warms up pretty quickly. So everything looking good. Everything's starting to taste good already that I've had a taste of. But what am I going to be sowing this year, this month, and what should you guys be sowing? Well, obviously different areas around the world, different times of sowing. I'm here in group. I think it's group 6 or whatever it is. We have frost all the way out till probably the first week in June. It's always possible, and it doesn't really sort of warm up much over the next month. It just sort of creeps up very slowly. But whether you know in your sort of group 7 UK sort of areas, a little bit warmer, or you know further down in North America, lots more things being planted, and you know depending on where you get frosts, you can start to be looking to plant things out. I wouldn't be in a hurry. You know, the ground likes the ground isn't fully warm wherever you are in sort of group 6, group 7, definitely group 5 sort of areas. And I don't care what anybody says, you know, whether you know these cool weather plants like your lettuce and peas, etc., like cool weather, they don't like cold weather, and you know nothing like sitting in soggy cold soil. So you know don't be in a hurry to sow things outside this early in April. Second half, and that's what I'll be thinking about, but we'll come to the second half in a minute. First half I am still sowing indoors, so I am sowing indoors. I've just sowed some more sort of spring onion, bunching onion type onions, even though I've got a lot, you know, already going around the bazaars. Use them so much in salads, you know, they're so useful. I just repeat sowing every couple of weeks at the moment, so that I'll be firing them out in different places, whether it be inside or in little pots, or you know, in one of the beds. So lots of spring onions coming along, and these take a while to be getting going, but you know it's well worth it for whatever that $3 for, you know, 100 odd onions. Definitely worth it. Also, you know, your big onions. So I have, as you saw, sown them already, but I'm going to sow some direct outside in the second half of this month. I said I was going to come to the second half in a minute, didn't I? Let's stay indoors. So, like we said, sowing some more onions. Basil, just sowed a load of basil. And all the different herbs. So I've got some purple and some green, and I've got a few different types of basil, or basil as you say in North America. But this purple stuff's always a nice looker, but you can't beat a nice bit of classic basil, and I'll be sowing that every couple of weeks now for the next few weeks, because you can never have enough basil, because you can never have enough pesto, and it takes quite a bit of basil to make a bit of pesto. So you know I'll be just like literally 50 plants wouldn't be enough for me. I'd still use it all throughout the summer. Fantastic herb. So all the different herbs that I'll be trying, you know, parsley, coriander or cilantro as you call it. I've grown that, you know, some of that over winter, but that'll quite quickly go to seed in the next few weeks. So be sowing some more indoors. I also have some that just comes up naturally every single year, drops its seed down and then comes up. So I have that lot plus what I've sown indoors. So that's a good succession of coriander. So all your different herbs, try and sow them this month indoors, and then, you know, next month easily wherever you are really you can, except for basil. Basil I'll be keeping indoors again until June time. So if you've got nowhere to keep your basil indoors, don't worry about sowing that yet. Again, wait towards the end of the month, and then you can sow it, pot it up, and then get it out late in May, June, even in a little in a cold frame. You can put it in there, but basil definitely doesn't like it cold. So don't be in a too hurry to plant basil if you've got nowhere to keep it indoors for a bit. So later on this month I will be sowing indoors some of my the sort of your warm loving plants, like the summer squashes, zucchini or courgettes as we call them in the UK. That sort of stuff, I'll be planting that indoors right at the end of the month, because this is surprisingly quick grower and they don't like the cold either, definitely. So if you've got nowhere again to plant this in indoors, keep it indoors. Don't worry about planting this really until mid-May. It is surprising how quick they will catch up if you plant them direct in the soil. I just like to do a bit of both, just as an insurance policy for me, and and it keeps me off the streets, doesn't it? So corn as well. I will be sowing some corn indoors right at the end of the month. Again, as an insurance policy, love corn, but again that will sow and germinate quite quickly as soon as the soil is warmed up in June time. So those are my indoor plants I'll be sowing right the way throughout the month. And then outdoors, like I said, the onions and the spring onions, carrots. Definitely be sowing carrots because you can't really sow them indoors. They don't like being transplanted at all. So carrots. All of these sort of cool weather plants, as soon as the ground can be worked, you can plant them. It's just like I said, they don't like cold, wet, soggy soil. So give it a chance to warm up. And you can do that, help it along by maybe putting some cloches over the beds early in the year. I often put some black cloth, and I'll be doing that over the next few days actually. Some black cloth, or if you've got black plastic, even though I'm trying to get away from using plastic, but as long as you're reusing it, it's okay. But lay some black plastic over your beds, and that will absorb the heat and warm your soil up nicely, so that it warms up that little bit quicker. So Swiss chard, I'll be planting that as well from next week. So all of these ones I'm talking about now, carrots, onions, spring onions, etc. Peas, I'll be sowing them towards the end of this month as well. Peas, and beets towards the end. Beetroot. This one is Early Wonder. Not grown it before, so I'm not sure what it's like. And then things like the broccolini, the leeks and onions, etc. I'll be planting them probably either the end of the month. Again, it depends what the weather's looking like. If they're growing strongly in here at the moment, I'm no hurry to be planting them out. But if I know there's going to be a nice bit of warmish weather for this early spring, I'll be planting them out at the end of April. But here, we can as soon as have a snowstorm, then a nice bit of sun in April anyway. So we'll see. So really, everything you've got, potatoes, I won't be planting potatoes but outside, but if I can get hold of some sets, I'm going to be experimenting using bags. So I've got some sort of cloth bags that I'm going to be using to experiment growing potatoes in this year. So watch out for that video. We can see how that is compared to growing them in my raised beds, whether I grow them in earth or in seaweed. When I do that experiment, I'm going to do sort of the double experiment with these bags as well. And so I'll be doing those this month, and I'll be keeping them inside for a little bit, and then I'll be putting them outside. So that's it. It's all go now, isn't it? All go here, making sure everything is all watered and kept nice and cozy, making sure things are potted up in time. Don't let you know, all the seeds that you've sown, don't let them dawdle too much in the boxes that you've originally sowed them in. Start to get them, pot them up when you see that first set of true leaves, so that they don't get crowded and they don't get leggy. Lots of light now, and when you get a chance on a nice warm day, put the stuff outside, give it a chance to sort of acclimatise itself, and job's definitely a good one. The spring is here, well, ish, and we're looking forward to a beautiful summer.